Welcome to ADFN 365. Today we're talking about some PowerPoint features to help you make a Jeopardy board and to cover some of the specifics. This first video, we're going to look at fonts, specific colors, fun with shapes, and making the Jeopardy board. And then the second one we'll do animations and nonlinear presentations and hyperlinks. So this first one will cover the first half, and then the second video will cover the last half. So if we wanted to start out in PowerPoint, a couple of things. The fonts, as you can see here, this font is similar to Jeopardy. Jeopardy, according to this website, Fonts in Use, says that these are the fonts that Jeopardy uses. I searched for those fonts and came up with this font, which looks very similar and is a free font. If you download this file, it will bring up a window like this on your computer with the Jeopardy TTF, which is the font installation file. You click on that and you can install that on your computer. Once you've done that, then you can select that font to create the title for Jeopardy. If you don't want to create a different name for it, then you can also use Google and search for those Creative Commons files that have a Jeopardy title you can just put at the top of your Jeopardy board. In this case, we're going to go with Jeopardy. We're going to make a SDSU themed Jeopardy board, so I thought it was only appropriate that we change the name a little bit. So we're going to come in here and highlight it. We're going to change the font. This font, like I said, is called Jeopardy. What it does is make something that looks somewhat similar to Jeopardy, but as you'll notice, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and doesn't fill up the screen like the actual Jeopardy font would. That's because it's using some extra features. So if we go up to font and we look at this menu under character spacing, what we can do is we can expand the spacing. So we want to expand the spacing probably by 5 points, which will spread the words out, and even that didn't get it quite big enough. So we're going to go ahead and expand that again. And we'll say this time we want 10, and that'll expand it out a little bit more. That looks pretty good, so we'll stretch it out here. And center it. Shrink it down a little bit so it doesn't fill up too much of our screen. All right, the next thing we need to talk about is colors. There's lots of color choices out there. You can do whatever you want for your board, but you'll see that in some places when you get to your school, they'll have specific lists of colors. You'll have to talk to your IT people to get those generally, but where we're doing this with the Sdsu Colors, we can click on the Sdsu website and it will take us to their list of specific colors. They list out these colors. We're going to focus on the blue and yellow here. These are different ways to find those. In PowerPoint, we're going to use this bottom code. So if we copy that code and we come in here and we go to our background, format our background, and we want a solid fill, and we click on the color. When we go to more colors and we click on the sliders and we get the Rgb Slider, what we can do then is you can either put all these numbers in and adjust the color, or you can just go into hex color, which is the code that we copied off the website. Put that in. Once you hit enter, then you get SDSU blue. Now we'll want the font to be SDSU yellow, which I've already put in, but same thing, go to that website and then you can get the yellow. So now we've got Jack's blue and yellow for our background. Now it's time to look at inserting our shapes. So I'm up here to insert. We're going to select shapes, and we just want a basic rectangle. We're going to make it so it's not very big, so we don't want it to take up a lot of space. So we need to decide what colors are we going to do with this. I think I'm going to go with the Jack's blue again, and I'm going to right click on it and edit the text. I'm just going to put in 100 here, and I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to change the color of my text from white to the Jack's yellow. Then I'm going to go back over here to format the shape. and I'm going to go to some shape options here. The first thing I'm going to do is click on the pentagon. I want to give this some 3D effects. So when we look at the effects, whichever of these you seem to like the most, I'm going to go with this particular one here, and probably shrink the height just a little bit and the width just a little bit so that it'll fit in our smaller shape. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here to this font, and they tell me that on the Famous Fonts website that Jeopardy uses a Helvetica font, and just use regular and kind of blow it up a little bit. So now we have our block. It's all ready to go. We're going to copy that block, Control C or Command C on a Mac, and then we're going to hit Command V or Control V, and we're going to paste in some boxes. So now we have just and I didn't copy all the features I wanted, so we're going to try again here. There we go. Now we're pasting it. So we'll just keep dragging these roughly in a line. We're going to make a board that goes up to 500, and we're going to have a title. So here we're just going to call this 1-1 to let us know that that's the first row. Now we're going to put these so they're fairly close together. Leave just a little bit of a gap, then we can go in here and highlight all of them. We're going to go up to formatting our shape. We're going to go to arrange. We're going to go to align, and we're going to start by aligning the centers. That will guarantee that they're all aligned this direction. Then we're going to go distribute. We want to distribute them vertically. What that does is spaces them evenly between the top and the bottom shape that you have selected, so that they're all the same, and we look and say, we left an extra shape in there we don't want. Try again, highlight them, align, distribute vertically. All right, so now we've got our boxes. They're all perfectly aligned. They're all spaced out perfectly. So we're gonna highlight this row, we're gonna right click on it, we're gonna group it. So now we have one shape. We're going to copy that shape. Once we get several of them here, same thing as before, we're going to highlight them. We're going to go up to arrange. We're going to align. This time we're going to align the middle so that they're all straight across. We're going to go align, we're going to distribute them horizontally so they're all evenly spaced out. We're going to right click, we're going to group them. Now we have one board. So we're going to drag this board down to the bottom corner. A little bit of space here so it doesn't. That's probably just a little bit too wide. That looks to fill it up fairly well. Maybe make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, so now we've got our board. So now we're going to go and group. We're going to ungroup. And we're going to click one more time. I lost it. I have to highlight them again. And click one more time and go to group and ungroup them. So now we have all of our boxes that are individual. So now we can go through here and we can change these. And I'll just do one row. Of course, you'll have to do all the rows. So now we've got this one ready, so we're going to make this one our 2s. This one's our 3s, our 4s, and our 5s. And we're going to change the last row as well really quick, just because this is where we're going to hyperlink these 2 rows. Okay, so we go to do those in the middle as well, but now we've got our basic board created. Colors are pretty good. If we want, now that we've got our final size here, we can increase the font size a little bit just by highlighting them all. I think that looks pretty good, but I think I want to spread them out just a little bit like we did before. So we're going to increase them by, let's just go with 1. Just spreads them out a little bit so they fill a little bit more of your box. So at this point, go ahead and save your board. You've got it all aligned, you've got the fonts right, you've got the colors right. If you don't like this background color, you can go in, format that background, and give it just a slightly lighter color. So if we want to just add a little bit of light to it, just pop it back just a little bit so it's not quite the same color, which will let our boxes show up a little bit better. So now we've got our fonts, we've got specific colors, we've aligned the shapes. We're ready for animation, which we'll do in our next video. So go ahead and save that, and you can move on and start the next video when you're ready. Thanks.